Pranamams to Brahmarshi Pitamaha Patriji and Swarnamala Patriji. Namaste, Masters. This is Lakshmi Sudhakar from Los Angeles, California. Welcome to all Masters for Patriji's Amruthotsavam and Sadananda Guru Utsavam. We are celebrating the way of our beloved Guru Patriji's life. Thanks for giving me an opportunity to introduce our master, meditation coach, Madhavi Makam from Denver, Colorado. She's a good friend of mine in spiritual journey and personally. She's very inspirational and dedicated. Madhavi's parents introduced meditation to her. She moved from Boston to Denver, Colorado a few years ago. That move brought about a big change in her life. Her practicing meditation changed into profession of teaching. She is one of the core members of DMC, PSSM Mega Meditation Summit. She led 72 hours of full moon meditation with the help of all the PSSM masters around the world. She also worked with various PSSM groups like PSSM Global, PSSM USA, and Amma Kutumbam. She hosted few sessions of live with Patriji. One of the sessions, Patriji called her as Buddha. She is hosting spiritual parenting, Patanjali Adhyayanam classes, book reading, and satsang to enrich ourselves into spiritual path. At present, she is completely following and learning Patanjali Yoga Sutras taught by Padmajakama. Now she is going to explain about Patanjali Sutras and how she will be implementing in her life. Welcome, Madhavi.
Thank you, Lakshmi Garu. It's a pleasure to be with you in this platform. And thank you for the PSSM USA for conducting this beautiful session for all the masters in USA to get knowledge from the spiritual practices that we are all doing. First and foremost, my deepest gratitude to my parents, Patiraj Gopal and Sati Sulochana, who introduced me to this beautiful meditation. And my heartful gratitude to Brahmarshi Pitamaha Patriji for creating such a beautiful platform for all of us to grow spiritually and to know more about ourselves and be a better person each and every day through the teachings of his spiritual teachings. And thanks to Padmajakama for pouring the knowledge to all of us. And this Patanjali Yoga Sutra has been taught by her. And I am a biggest fan of Patanjali Yoga Sutra, and I feel that I can live with this Yoga Sutra practicing and then knowing more about sutras and being part of this Patanjali's consciousness. As this subject is so vast, I'm going to just give you a brief introduction of Patanjali Yoga Sutras and 8 limbs of yoga, and then how I have transformed, if time permits. So before I start, let me share my screen. I want to invoke Patanjali Maharshi for. Can you guys share? Can you guys see my screen? Yes?
Okay. Yes.
Yogena chittasya padena vacha malam sharirasya cha vaityakena yopakarottam pravaram munina Patanjalim pranjaliranatosmi. The meaning of this sutra is, I bow down with my folded palms to the highest sage, Patanjali Maharshi. This greatest Maharshi has the one who has cleansed the impurities of the mind through yoga, and he cleansed the speech through grammar, and he cleansed the body through medicine. The greatest Maharshi is Patanjali. He is among the Munis. He is the highest and exalted sage. Why he is being treated as the highest sage is because he cleared all the impurities that is called malam from our body, mind, and soul. And how did he do this? So the prayer says chittasya. So is one of the aspect of mind. Through this chittasya, he cleared the impurities of mind. And vacha. Vacha is of speech. Through grammar, through vyakarana, and through pada, he removed the speech. And as we all know, how important our Guruji, Brahmarshi Pitamaha has given us the Vakshetra, right? And Vaidyaka, through medicine, he removed the impurities of the body. Through yoga, he has cleared the impurities of mind. Through Vyakarana, he cleared the impurities of speech. Through medicine, impurities of the body. So by following this great Maharshi, we can clear our mind, our body, and our vak. That is the beauty of Maharshi. And just few words about Maharshi is, he is lived between 2nd century BCE to 4th century BCE. And with many scholars have narrowed down into this. And the important part is he has been there with us at that time. So in my, this Yoga Sutras is a vast subject, and lot of authors have been translated in different ways. And in my view, we all know that yoga is the union of body and mind. But here what I feel is, it is not a process. Yoga is not a process. It is not a philosophy, and it is not a theory. Yoga is how life functions in general with you. The literal meaning of yoga is union. We all know that. And what our pursuit is to understand and experience and know that yoga, that union is already in existence and live within ourselves. By coming into this spirituality, we are knowing more about ourselves, and we are getting into the union of body, mind, and soul. And few words about the power of chanting Patanjali Yoga Sutras. And this is all we have experienced it. By chanting the Patanjali Yoga Sutras, you will transform your mind. The chant of Yoga Sutras, by repeated manana of each sutra, have the benefit of being sadhana in themselves. For example, if you say Chitta Vritti Nirodha, Yogas Chitta Vritti Nirodha. By listening to that mantra or the sutra, you can get rid of Chitta Vritti. So this sutras are 196 verses, and there are only 500 different words that have been used in this 196 verses. So with the minimum words, but it is very effective when you start chanting the sutras. That is what a lot of sages have experienced it. As we all know that sutras are very concise in nature, and it's very short. It is for the reason that it is very difficult to understand. That is why there are so many interpretations of these sutras have come. And by chanting these sutras, we get better concentration, and you can release the pain, and you can remove the ego, and you can have the better decision and purity of mind just by chanting the sutras and meditating on those sutras. That is the powerful nature of the sutras. Okay, let me see. Oops. Okay, so we finished introduction, and then this is the 4 chapters of Patanjali Yoga Sutras. Samadhi Padam, Sadhana Padam, and Vibhuti Padam, and Kaivalya Padam. I will just give you a brief introduction of all these 4 padas, and then we'll get into the next topic. Samadhi Pada expresses the goal of concentration. And this pada is the chapter of enlightenment. It gives you the brief introduction of the enlightenment. And through this pada, when you start knowing more about this pada, you will achieve vairagya. That is, through abhyasa, you can achieve vairagya, non-attachment. Patanjali explains that this is possible only with a balance between effort and letting go. Obstacles to mental stillness are outlined in the Samadhi Pada, followed by a description of resulting state of absorption. This dissolving of self is described as the key to ending mental pain and suffering. So there are a few, the first 3 sutras I'm going to chant, and I will explain all these sutras when the time is appropriate in the following session. The first sutra is Yogas Chitta Vritti. The first sutra is Atha Yoghanushāsanam, right? And the second one is Yogas Chitta Vritti Nirodha, Tadha Drashtu Swarupe Avasthanam. So here Maharshi says Atha Yoghanushāsanam, right? So if we want to be in this spiritual path, now is the moment to start. And we are all doing it. As meditators, we are all doing it, and we are all seeing the fruits of this beautiful spiritual journey. And he talks about self-discipline of yoga. Once when you start, you have to be self-disciplined for you to grow spiritually. And the next 2, I will talk about it later. And in this Samadhi Padam, he talks about 5 kinds of vrittis. So it's called Pramana Viparyaya Vikalpa Nidra Smritayaha. With these vrittis, we have the circulation of being in a circular mode, like you think about one thing and then you keep on thinking about it. So the second sutra is Yogas Chitta Vritti Nirodha. How you can avoid this vrittis is by practicing of yoga. Yoga is the union of the body, the mind and soul. And the second is Sadhana Pada. In Sadhana Pada, it talks more about how to practice this Yoga Sutras, how to practice this yoga, right? So in that, mainly he talks about kleshas, right? The kleshas, the 5 kleshas. Avidya, Asmita, Raga, Dvesha, Binivesha, Pancha kleshaha. So these 5 kleshas are avidya, ignorance, asmita, egoism, raga, attachment, dvesha, aversion, and abhinivesha, fear of death. So if we want to evolve in our spiritual life, these are the ones that keeps on coming to us, and how we can get rid of these obstacles. So because of these obstacles, we get into sufferings of our mental emotions. So this Sadhana Pada elaborates on the practical aspect of yoga. It discusses the 8 limbs of yoga, that is Ashtanga Yoga, as a systemic path to spiritual growth and liberation. These limbs include Yama, Niyamasana, Pranayama, Pratyahara, Dharana, Dhyana, Samadhi. So with these 8 limbs of yoga, a person can achieve to the Samadhi state from wherever he is. So this is what the 8 limbs that Maharshi has said. He said you have to go to Yama, you have to go to Niyama, and then Asana, Pranayama, Pratyahara, Dharana, Dhyana, Samadhi. So these 8 limbs of yoga, he has said to go in an order. But our Guruji, Patriji, what he has said is, if you start doing Yama Niyamasana, you will be in a vicious cycle that you cannot come out of it. So what Patriji has told is, start with Pranayama, Pratyahara, Dharana, Dhyana, Samadhi, right? So with the Dhyanam, he said, start with the Dhyanam. So all the limbs that are previous will be under your control. So by doing the Dhyanam, all your Yama Niyamas, all those things will come under control. That is the message from Patri sir. In this world, in this yuga, this is the best way to do it. And then the next chapter is Vibhuti-pada. So in this Vibhuti-pada, it's the power or manifestations. How you can get supernatural powers. So when you finish your Samadhi, Sadhana Pada, then your supernatural powers will come to you. So in this chapter, Patanjali Maharshi explains concentration, meditation, and contemplation, and samyama, from these 3, concentration, meditation, and contemplation, from these 3, you can get into a samyama, from which, if you perform this samyama, astonishing powers will arise. That is called supernatural powers, and in Christianity we call it as miracles. So each and every human being have this power, but we have to do the sadhana. And in Vibhuti-pada, when you get the powers, Maharshi says you have to be extremely careful, because when you get the powers, that is when you try to misuse it. So he always talks about being cautious about when you get the powers. So that is one thing he mentions over and over again. And then the last one is Kaivalya-pada. This is chapter of liberation. The Kaivalya-pada addresses the concept of Kaivalya, which is the liberation or ultimate freedom. It describes the nature of the self, that is the Purusha, and the importance of discrimination between the self and the material world, that is the Purusha and Prakriti. This chapter discusses the process of attaining liberation through the dissolution of ignorance and the realization of true nature of existence. These four padas together form a comprehensive guide to the theory and practice of yoga as articulated by Patanjali Maharshi, providing insights into the nature of consciousness, the path of special and spiritual realization, and the obstacles encountered along the way. So, and in this, he talks about different kinds of samadhis also. And we will talk about 8 limbs of yoga. So this is what we talked about: Samadhi Pada, Sadhana Pada, Vibhuti Pada, and Kaivalya Pada. In each and every chapter, there are 51 sutras, 55 sutras, and 55 and 34 sutras. So these are the 3 sutras that if we follow, we will see the Tadadrashtu Swarupe Avasthanam, that is, you'll see the God within you. But to get into seeing the God within you is what Maharshi tells us what all the steps that needs to be done. So these are the 8 limbs of yoga. When we practice these 8 limbs of yoga, then you will get into a samadhi state, that is into a Kaivalya sthiti. So yama niyamasana pranayama pratyahara dharana dhyana samadhi. So we will go one by one. So we have 8 limbs. The first 4 is called bahiranga sadhana, that is external practices that we do. Yama are prohibitions and niyama are injunctions. Asana is posture. Pranayama is mindful breathing. So when we go to yama, these 5 social ethics that we need to follow. So in this ahimsa, that is kindness. So under yama, we have 5. That is ahimsa, satya, asteya, brahmacharya, aparigraha. So this is what Maharshi, he talks about: ahimsa, satya, steya, brahmacharya, parigraha, yamaha. So this is the 5 social ethics that we need to follow. And niyama, right? So the next one is niyama. In that, Maharshi talks about 5 more. That is an authoritative warning or order. So he says, you have to follow these injunctions. Saucha santosha tapaswadhyayeshwara pranidanani niyamaha. So this is the sutra, that in that one line of sutra, he talks so much. So saucha is purity, santosha is contentment, tapas is austerity, swadhyaya is self-study, ishvara pranidhana is surrender. And then asana is posture. As Patri sir says, sthira sukha asana. That is what Patanjali Maharshi also talks about. So when you say asana, we think about yogasanas. Anywhere in this 196 sutras, Patanjali Maharshi doesn't talk anything about yogasanas. So when he say asana, yoga means the union of soul with the oneness. And pratyahara is mindful breathing. These 4, yama, niyama, asana, pranayama, are the bahiranga, that is external things, external practices that we need to do before we get into the antargatanga. So the final 4 angas are called antaranga sadhana. Those are pratyahara, dharana, dhyana, samadhi. So these are the 4 angas, or these are the 4 limbs that does it. So here he talks about, see, this is antaranga sadhana, pratyahara, dharana, dhyana, samadhi, right? So here he talks about pratyahara. So in this pratyahara, there are 5 senses. And he talks about the 6th sense as well. So he says the 6th sense is the mind. So in this, we know 5 senses are sight, hearing, taste, smell, and touch. And here he considered the 6th sense as mind. So pratyahara is nothing but you grab all your senses inwards, right? So how do you grab, I mean, like, how do you grab your senses inwards is, he gives the example of the tortoise. So when the tortoise has some kind of, if you want to rest or if he wants to sleep, what it does is he takes down all 4 limbs and then his tail inside, right? So those are 5 senses. And the 6th is the mind. So he takes his head also inside. So he, like, it's just an example, like how you can go inwards with these senses. So that is what we need to remember. And then dharana. Dharana is ekagrata or one-pointedness. Oops. And dharana is one-pointedness, and dhyana is meditation, and samadhi is, we all know, when dharana, pratyahara, dharana, dhyana, when we practice these 3 things, then the samadhi sthiti, it's called sthiti, the samadhi sthiti, without any effort, you will get into a samadhi sthiti. So when you put an effort, that means that it is not samadhi sthiti. So Maharshi talks about the ego, different kinds of egos, 2 kinds of egos. One is the doer, and the other one is experiencer. So when you don't put any effort, when you realize that you are not putting any effort in the dhyana, that is when samadhi sthiti will come. So I thought I'll talk more about samadhi sthiti, but we are running out of time. One thing I wanted to tell you guys is, I mean, it's my Adhyayanam of Patanjali Yoga Sutras. So when Padma Jakka madam has taught us the Patanjali Yoga Sutras, we as a group decided that we need to do the Adhyayanam session by ourselves. So it's like 196 sutras. Each sutra we were taking 1 week and then preparing ourselves, and then we started chanting. We started learning to chant 10 sutras each week, and then now most of us knows how to chant 196 sutras anarkhalanga, like with the easy flow. That is one thing that we have achieved. Now we are into the 4th pada, that is the Kaivalya pada. And many times, when you start, you are like, after some days, you're like, nah, why do we want to do this? So let's move on, right? So whenever we used to get that kind of attitude, I don't know, maybe Patanjali Maharshi's consciousness was coming to me. And then he said, the first sutra is Atha Yoganushasana, right? So now is the time for you to be disciplined. It's not tomorrow, it's not day after, or it's not yesterday, right? Now is the time for you to be disciplined, for you to grow spiritually. And I used to get that intuition, and then I used to send in the message in the group, and then we all were in track, right? As we all know, when we are in any consciousness, any Maharshi's consciousness, they make us walk in the path. And my transformation with this Patanjali Yoga Sutra is like tremendous. Obviously, the meditation helps. But at the same time, the subconscious, the antargata emotions that were in me, I could sense each and every feeling. Sometimes I used to get so irritated and there was nothing, right? But still, that irritation used to come like weeks together. And then I used to observe those things. And then slowly but steadily, it used to go away. And when Maharshi says, a simple thing, we as PSSM masters, we have a lot of knowledge, but how much are we practicing? That is what we are doing in our Adhyayanam session. Like we explain our sutras, and then after that we have the discussion. And then the discussion is when is the most knowledge is shared in that group. And everybody enjoys, and Lakshmi Garu is one of the Adhyayanam student, Patanjali Maharshi Adhyayanam student. And we feel that we are all fortunate to be part of this. And it's really amazing journey that, at least, I mean, I can talk to myself, but I can watch that all the Adhyayanam students are also transforming. The way each and every person's life is different, transformation is different. And yeah, the example that in one sutra he talks about, we talk about judgment, right? What he says is, when you look at a person, you look, if you have like 10 years of friendship or 20 years of friendship, that doesn't matter. But when you look at that person, you look at them as a new person every time. So it is very easy said and done, because once when I see my friend, right, like my friend say A, I know like what all history we had behind, like how many years we had history. So those judgments will come to me over and over again. That is what, it's a human mentality. But what Maharshi says is, when my friend A, if I see that person, I should look at him as a new person. That means that I'm not judging what has happened between me and her from so many months or years that has happened. So when we start following that one thing, the life changes. The judgment concept will not be there. And one more thing Maharshi says is, after this I will stop. Maharshi says is, we all think that we know a lot of knowledge, right? We think that, oh, I know this, I have read this, I have read that, I've read this book, this, that. I mean, all those things will come to us, and then we feel that, oh my God, I know everything. But what Maharshi says is, how much ever you know, the amount of knowledge that you have is only the mustard seed knowledge. But what you have to learn is the ocean. There is ocean of knowledge in front of you, but what we know is the mustard seed. So just by thinking that in your mind, first thing is your ego will be in control, and then what happens is you feel that you want to learn more and more and more, so that way you can evolve in your spiritual path. So these all may be very simple, but when it comes to implementation, that is when you realize how, I wouldn't say tough, like how challenging it is, like through sadhana, anything and everything can be possible. And I'm really fortunate to be in this path of Patanjali Yoga Sutra Adhyayanam session. And if anybody wants, we will be starting in September, the Patanjali Sutras. And I'm sure we will post it in the groups. But my humble request is, be with Patanjali Maharshi. He'll make you change internally and externally, Anthargatanga and Bahiranganga. So he will change both. And Patanjali Maharshi's sutras is not just 8 limbs of yoga. That is only one sutra. We have 195 sutras that we need to practice. So it's a beautiful journey that we are having. And thank you for giving this opportunity to talk about Patanjali Maharshi. And it's really, it's a pleasure for me to talk about him. So today what I'm going to do about the Maharshi's meditation is, I'm going to play the music in the sense, the first sutras, right? Atha yoganushasanam yogaschitta vritti nirodha tadadrashtu swarupi avasthanam. So these three lines come over and over again. Do not get bogged down to the words, but sense the energies that come from that sutra. And after that, there will be Om chanting that will get you into a next level. Just listen to the sutras and then observe your normal and natural breath. As Patriji says, breath is our Guru, breath is our Brahma, breath is our Vishnu, breath is our Shiva, breath is everything to us. So be with your breath, your normal and natural breath. Let's all sit in a comfortable posture. Cross your legs, clasp your hands, fingers into fingers, and close your eyes. Observe your normal and natural breath. Breath is one of the most important things that we have. Through this beautiful breath, we can connect to the divine that is within us. Through this beautiful breath, we can tap onto our intellect. Just be with your breath, my dear friends and my dear masters.
See you. Called self.
Let's meditate for the next 20 minutes. Be with your normal and natural breath. No thoughts whatsoever. Let's focus on the sounds that come from this beautiful chanting of Maharshi Sutras. Yogena chittasya padena vacha malam sharirasya cha vaidyakena yopakarottam pravaram munina Patanjalim pranjaliranatosmi.
तदा द्रष्टुः स्वरूपे
Let's show gratitude to Patanjali Maharshi for giving us a path to climb up the ladder in this spirituality. Gratitude to Pitamaha Patriji for giving us this beautiful platform of PSSM. Gratitude to Padma Jakama for teaching the Yoga Sutras. And gratitude to Mother Earth and Mother Nature. Let's be thankful to ourselves for spending time and knowing ourselves more and more in this spiritual life. Gently place your palms on your eyes for the count of 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Slowly blink your eyes and open them. Thank you all for joining today. And thank you for PMC USA for having such a beautiful program of Patriji's Amruthotsavam. And thank you.
Thank you so much, Madhavi. It's a wonderful meditation. And thank you so much for your explanation. It's beautifully explained about Patanjali Yoga Sutras. It's a very little time. You explained everything very clearly. In the prayer, just some recap I'll tell. In prayer, you said, Yogena Chittasya Pathena Vacham. In this prayer itself, it's very clear. We can clear all the impurities of mind, speech, and body. So what you said is, yes, you can clear mind through yoga, and you can clear your speech through Vyakaranam, and you can clear your body through medicine. So yoga is a reunion, like a union yoga. And you talked about the power of chanting. Yes, through this chanting, we will transform our minds. Yoga Chitta Vritti Nirodha. By listening the sutra itself, we can get rid of all our chittas. But we have to listen, like what you said, continuously we have to do. The chanting we have to do, and we have to listen also. And you explained about 4 padas very well. The 4 padas are, one is Samadhi pada, it has 51 sutras, and Sadhana pada has 55 sutras, and Vibhuti pada has 55, and the 4th one is Kaivalya pada, which has 34 sutras. Samadhi, you explained, this is a goal of concentration, and sadhana is how to practice Yoga Sutras. And you explained very well about the sutra Yama, Niyama, Asana, Pranayama, Pratyahara, Dharana, Dhyana, Samadhi, the 4 limbs of yoga. And the 3rd pada is Vibhuti pada, it's the power of manifestation. And 4th one is the Kaivalya, this chapter of liberation. So at the end, you explained very well, after through listening and through chanting, you can get rid of all our chittas. And you will learn not to judge the people. And another thing what we learn is, you don't know much. You have to learn more and more and more. So these are all the things you explained very well. So thank you so much, Madhavi. Thanks to all of you.
Thank you, Lakshmi Garu. It's we are all in this path of spiritual journey, and I'm glad that you are there with me in our Patanjali Yoga Sutras. It's a pleasure.
We are traveling together in this.
Yes.
And I want to just make one announcement about tomorrow. Tomorrow they are talking about friendship and service by Arun Aradurgam and Satish Kumar. And thanks for giving me an opportunity. Thanks to all masters. Thank you.
Before closing, just ask the participants, is anyone wanted to share their experience or any doubts, and share here.
Yeah, sure. So if you guys have any questions or any experience sharing, how the meditation was, always Patri sir says that Sajjana Sangatyam is the most important thing in our spiritual path. So always, if there is anything that you want to share, please do. We would love to hear. And or any questions is there, please do ask. We'll see if we can answer you guys. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much, Madhavi Garu, for bringing Patanjali and the consciousness. So wonderful, leader. So many takeaways from your session. So I cannot say one or two. So thank you so much. And I wanted to learn. You said you are starting in September, right? So maybe, particularly the no judgment. That part is very tricky, even though how much we practice, that should be even practice more. You said you can overcome that. So I'm looking forward for your sessions. Thank you so much.
Definitely. So in our sessions, we are all teachers. So everybody has to participate. That is the intent. So that we we all want to grow together in this spiritual path. So the more we talk,
that
the more
no
we discuss.
judgment part is very tricky. If you overcome that, then only we'll evolve much faster. That's the main to grow further. That should overcome. So
Yes.
yeah, and I see a lot of change I'm observing you from past 2 years. So I see tremendous change. Whatever you said, I noticed that. So you become calmer and calmer and more of a loving kind of thing. So I noticed so much and so many takeaways. Thank you so much, Madhavi Garu.
It's my pleasure, Sirisha.
Hi, Madhavi garu. నేను సుకుమార్ అండి.
అండి
రిగార్డింగ్ ఈ మంత్ శ్లోకాస్ అన్నారు కదండి మీరు 195 ఉంటాయి. అవి డైలీ మనం ప్రాక్టీస్ చేయాలా అండి? అవి ఇట్స్ కైండ్ ఆఫ్ హౌ డు వి టేక్ ఇట్ అప్ లైక్ 1 by 1 డైలీ, లేదంటే అది ఎలా అండి?
Yeah, what we do is, Andy, every week we plan to learn 10 sutras, and then we have the small clip of audio, so that way you repeat that over and over again. Like for us, most of us, we just know a lot of things have come by heart. And when you meditate on those sutras, like a lot of yogis here we have listened, they said that just by listening to that sutra, like yogas chitta vritti nirodha, so that meaning it will get imbibed in you, and then it will start working internally, subconsciously. So that is what I mean, like 2 or 3 yogis that I have read the books, they really mentioned that, it's it's a sutra is very short, but it is very powerful. So, and what we do is somebody will chant and then we meditate on it, or we will play the recording and then meditate on it. Like if you're a meditator, you don't need to, if you start getting the sound of that sutra than the words, then the effect is a lot more. So, like through practice, you will get it, like you just feel that it is a sound and then it get imbibed in you.
Okay, sure. So in September, you will be doing this sessions, and upcoming?
Yes, we all will be learning together. Yes.
Okay, definitely. Looking forward to it. Thank you so much.
Welcome.
Good evening to all of you, masters. I am Dr. K.S. Yogi. Really, satsang like this Patanjali Yoga Sutras is a highly divine nature. If you listen, understand, is also a good thing. But if we practice it, a lot of results will come out. If you understand also, we have to have some divine nature. Otherwise, we could not understand it. What is pratyahara? What is dharana? What is dhyana? What is samadhi? These are all technical, all good divine natured words. If you practice it, definitely our dimension will be go ahead, like a fifth dimension, sixth, seventh, eighth, like that. Really, it's a good thing to discuss and hear and participate like this satsang. Thank you.
Thank you. And yes, whatever you said, we completely agree on that. And it's really pleasure to know. And when the meditation, I just got beautiful light language that,
Yes.
and then I asked, what is it? Then Maharshi was very happy. I felt, I mean, Maharshi consciousness, I don't see anything visually, but I just get the intuition. So he was very happy. And then that is why I think when I was doing the light language, I was smiling because he was happy. And then later, when I mean, like just Patriji, he said, you are good. I mean, like Maharshi is happy. I don't know, maybe that is what I'm thinking, because visual ga I don't get any things, but bhavarupanga vastai. So, I felt very happy after doing this. Lots and lots of energies that has poured into this meditation, and beautiful energies.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So,
Thank you, Madhavi. You have shared profound wisdom on Patanjali Maharshi today. So, as you said, Patri sir has made little change. So, asana, he brought it first, and dhyana and pratyahara. So, the way once you start meditation, yoga, chitta, vritti, nirodha, then naturally the discipline comes, the discipline follows. So otherwise it's tricky only. It's not
yes.
easy to get discipline ourselves. So by practicing only we can get the discipline in ourself. So that's closest to reach to our true self.
Yes.
So today really I felt so much energies, and thank you for sharing the wisdom. Thank you for coming and sharing this wisdom in this platform. And thank you, Madhavi. And thank you for hosting, Lakshmi. Thank you so much. Thank you all for joining us today. Thank you, friends. So is anyone there to share your experience or wisdom or doubts? If anything else? If no one is there, let's close the session. Thank you, friends. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Let's all meet tomorrow.